And so here are the stats. It's 2-1 to Augsburg. Archie's made his way inside the stadium and is going to be getting plenty of reaction for us. But Archie, what was it like to be there? Tell us what you noticed in this game.
I noticed that Bayern didn't win, and that doesn't happen very often, Kay. In fact, Bayern lost. Where has this come from? And I think the honest answer is probably tiredness. Because in that second half, there wasn't the same zip to Bayern that we're used to seeing. And actually, when Alphonso Davies and Lennart Karl went off, the rhythm and the dynamic of the game seemed to change a bit. Jamal Musiala doesn't quite have, I think, the physical components that he has when he's at 100%, for example. And Bayern, not to put it on him, it was on the whole team here, but Bayern just seemed to drop off. And the fact that Augsburg just hung in there the whole time in the first half, it's not like Bayern were carving them apart time after time. And in the second half, they were rewarded for their persistence. And what a story as well. Han-Noah Masengo played under Vincent Kompany at Burnley a couple of years ago and was struggling to get game time. If ever he wanted to pay that back, I think he's done it today. Also, I want to know what Xhaka's thinking. Take me into the mind of the goalkeeper. You might be able to hear a cheer in the background. That's because the Augsburg dressing room is just next door to us here. Take me into the mind of the goalkeeper when Finn Darman is watching that shot from Michael Olise sail towards his goal. Yeah. Because I think it's up with the gods at that point as to what's happening next.
It absolutely is, Archie. You're saying a quick prayer and just hoping. You know that it's out of your reach. You're thinking maybe it's hitting woodwork, but you're never quite sure until you hear the ping of the ball striking the post. And then you know, all right, Lady Luck really is in our side.
And how's that feeling, Xhaka?
Oh, it's great.
It's the best.
Oh, I often refer to the woodwork as the goalkeeper's best friend. You hear those two coming together, ball and post, and you just know today's going to be a good day.
An angel on the goalpost today, but 11 warriors out there on the pitch. Yeah. With the changes we saw on everything, Archie, they fought so hard today, Augsburg.
So hard. And you know who I owe an apology, Kay? Sandro Wagner, for what I said before the game. Today was proof. There is perhaps the same quality in this Augsburg side as Bayern. Maybe he was right all along, albeit he's not here to see that bear fruit, sadly for him. But congratulations to him, to Manuel Baum even. Sandro Wagner, not today, but Manuel Baum, he's known as being somebody who loves the tactical side of the game. Some managers, I think they relish more of the motivational side, but you know with Manuel Baum, he's often on TV here before he got the job, again, as Augsburg's head coach. You see him on a Friday night going through what would be the tactical solutions for this team playing against that team in the Bundesliga. And he's done something that no one's been able to do this season. Let's not forget, this is Bayern's first Bundesliga defeat of the season. And there was talk of, well, can they go the whole season unbeaten, such as the imperious fashion that they've been playing in? And the answer is no. And I think if you're a Bayer Leverkusen fan, you probably enjoy this result a little bit more because it just makes sure that people remember just how special it was what Xabi Alonso did with his team 2 seasons ago. And for Augsburg as well, let's not forget, huge points for them in the relegation battle. They have Mainz, St. Pauli and Heidenheim to come in the coming weeks. But to get 3 points here is very much a bonus. As for Bayern, what does this mean? Ultimately, probably not that much. But I think that the interesting thing is going to be hearing from Vincent Kompany and see what he wants his team to learn from this kind of experience. Could they have played it any differently? Or is it just about saying, look, at this point in time, given everything they've done in the season so far, you've got to cut them some slack and say, a performance like this was maybe overdue.
Yes, absolutely. Commentators curse. By the way, it's the first time today that we have showed the record of Leverkusen in that invincible season against Bayern so far, and then Bayern come unstuck today.
Shelve
We're not
that
taking
graphic
any
now.
blame there. It was going to have to be talked about at some point, Bayern. You know, there's not much more to talk about. You're winning all of your games. We had to bring that one up. I just want to go back to the coach here because we mentioned what he'd said before the game. Give me a tick list. He said we need to stay compact.
Did.
He said we need to be aggressive in challenges.
Did.
He said we need to disrupt their rhythm.
Did.
And we need to transition bravely.
And they did that, particularly in the second half. And I thought the big difference in Augsburg in the first and the second half, as I mentioned, bank of 5 at the back, bank of 4, at times Rieder dropping in to make it 2 banks of 5 for Bayern, and Bayern struggled to break it down. What you saw in the second half, though, is he left Rieder higher up the park. So it was that same 5 of 4, and then Rieder pushed further on. So rather than dropping in to make it a midfield 5, he stayed up the park near the halfway line. And what that meant was Bayern had to leave 1, usually 2, with Rieder just in case. But then that allowed Augsburg, when they won the ball back, that there was this space between Bayern's midfield and their last 2 defenders. That Augsburg, who were having some joy, particularly late on in transition in the first half, during the second half, because that gap between, their midfield and their one attacker Rieder up front, Bayern's midfielder and their last 2 defenders, there was more space for Augsburg to exploit in transition in the second half. And that's why they were able to have so much more joy. That's why they were able to find so much more space. They outshot Bayern in the second half and were rewarded for it. So it's a little tweak made at halftime in the second half, a very brave tweak, given that you are at the Allianz Arena. A very brave tweak, but it paid huge dividends for Augsburg.
Yeah, and as Archie said, it won't make much of a difference for Bayern in the Bundesliga season so far, but we know Vincent Kompany's not going to be happy with that today.
No, he's not, and nor should he, because while Archie offers Bayern Munich an excuse about tiredness, and they had Union Saint-Louis in midweek in the Champions League, I thought Bayern Munich just were not able to get out of second gear, and I'm being generous in saying that. No, I think Augsburg had a huge role to play in that. But so often, even in games like this, with the quality that Bayern can call on, that Vincent Kompany can bring off the bench, you expect that to be the difference, particularly late on. And it nearly was with that Olise effort. But I thought Bayern just spluttered. They really didn't offer an awful lot by way of chances, by way of threatening, by way of dominating in the attacking third. They had the possession comfortably over 2/3 of it, but none of that possession really translated into a serious threat on the Augsburg goal.
We said it the other week, and it was when Bayern had at least a little bit of a scare. They do need these moments, I suppose, in a season like this to keep them competitive.
That's right.
On the fact that they are going for the league title. They seem to be running away with it, but this is just a little bit of a reality check.
A little bit of that, whoever you're up against, and it does not matter. At this level of the game, whether we're talking Champions League nights or Bundesliga days where you're up against a team near the bottom of the table, those teams are going to have their moments. Those teams have quality. And for all of yours, and as good as things are going, you have to be able to manage those. You have to be able to see your way through those. And Bayern just didn't on the day. They were not themselves. You want to think this is more one-off than anything and more sign to come. But you cannot take any opponent in level of Bayern Munich are playing for granted. This is evidence. We sat here and we spoke about Mainz, and I sat here and said there's absolutely no way lightning is going to strike twice.
But you brought it up, Shaq.
Yeah,
I think that's the point.
I could sit here and say that. Bayern Munich and their club, in their dressing room, they cannot have that approach, because this is what happens. Started the day, I started the day saying Augsburg just wanted to get out of here not being completely embarrassed. It's been a whole lot more than that.